Alright, we got something a little new today. We're doing a little commission request of the review of Breakfast Club. And they are facing Victoria's Secrets. As usual, I will watch the first shift, opening shift, and see if there's any comments to be made, and then otherwise we'll pick and choose if anything pops out throughout the game. So immediately right here, I can see a couple things I would probably make a comment on, and it starts with about here. So we're moving from right side to left side. We got Layla out there from a cross ice pass from Will. Brendan gets it, drops it back. He's dipping down, and I think so Layla does a drop pass back to Will. I think that is a little risky. Now perhaps Will can handle it. My first thinking is we see Brendan right here. He did a drop pass to Layla. I think that's Brendan. And if she did a pass down there, we were able to move the puck down deeper, and perhaps some chances can be generated there. Now I think with Mike, he's a little far on the opposite side of the ice. Normally, I have a preference, in my opinion, that if you can cut the ice in half, and we'll use the net where you cut the ice in half, I generally like to bring players on from right side to left side, so where that puck is. And the reason for that is generally we can bunch up the players, and the passing is short and really easy to get to, versus if you're on the opposite side of the ice, it becomes harder with competent D, where the players have to feed through multiple defenders, versus if you're able to squeeze over a little bit and find that space, you basically cut out one defender, and it just makes passing a little bit easier. Now let's continue right here. And so that was like the minor comments. What I thought was the major one was once you shipped it off to Will, the big problem is, where is all his passing options? They have all disappeared and gone to the front of the net. So unless Will goes for a shot where we can have some tip chances, rebounds, there is no passing option. There's like nobody for him to pass through. He could skate it down. That's definitely an option. But let's say it's not Will, it's any other player that can't outskate someone. There's nobody pass to. And let's also cover Mike. He's way over on the opposite side of town. The only way that he could probably get the pass, in my opinion, is doing a hard rim. That's really the only way. He's not going to do a pass, seams pass through. That's probably not going to happen. Too many defenders. So those are some observations right there. And eventually the puck gets lost, and Darren, who is the backup defender, should be identifying, hey, who is sneaking up behind me? And it's probably, this is going to be the biggest threat right here. So once Will loses it, I think his reaction was, hey, I better stop this player. But then they're forgetting there is this backdoor threat, which is probably going to be the #1 threat offensively. Boom, right there. If that landed, possibly a breakaway chance. So that got a little scary. Let's see how we recover. Oh, whoa, we got a banana peel right here. That looked good. And one more time. But let's see how we recover defensively here. Tries to pass it out front. Low recovery, pass out front. Headman pass. Layla's driving the net. Ooh, shot from pretty far out. A little pinch. Shot on net. So getting a little scrambly here. Puck's out, going for a change on the fly. Ooh, good interception. Shot on net. Deposited into the corner. Oh, Bad turnover. Back out the other way, taking it out wide. I think right here defensively it's a little passive. Who's defending right here? Will and Coach Darren. Okay, so one of the things Vu can do, and I think also Will, it's any defender, is you see how they are, the Victoria's Secret player is entering the zone with basically no contested, it's a free skate in. And to make life more difficult would be if the defenseman, and also if Vu, our winger here, is able to, number one, angle them towards the boards. We're trying to angle them towards the boards. Ideally, if we can angle them before the blue line, it's even better. We're trying to force them to dump it, or make them make a move, a little deke, a little something, a little hesitation to screw up this player. If you can slow them down just a little bit and force this player to go onto the offside, then you get a whistle, you can take a face off and have a breather. Because we've backed up all the way, then this player can just skate in. So two parts, if we can have a defender kind of get in front of their face, it doesn't have to be right in front of them, just even here with about a stick's length away, and then a winger coming to pressure, we're going to we're kind of squeezing them into a wall where this player is basically an anchor and this one is just rubbing them out. Would be you're just preventing them from ever entering the zone. So that's one thing. So I thought a little conservative there. This is a long shift. We have not gotten a whistle yet. Let's keep going. Circling the zone. Again, I think the same thing is kind of a free zone entry. No pressure. Ooh, no, not even a single Breakfast Club over there. What is going on here? So we neatly got it out of the zone. And nobody's on the right side. So they just skate in. Okay. Ooh, pass out front. That looked dangerous. So the responsibility here would be the center and the opposite D. So how we would identify this is whoever's defending is going to be right D or left D. It doesn't really matter. One of them is putting pressure on the forward. Now the remaining two forwards are going to be covered by the centerman and the center. And so how do you figure out who is who? Doesn't really matter. You just figure out the centerman and the defenseman, who's the closest to which post. There's this right side post or short side post, far side post. If the defenseman's closest to this post, they just find who's the closest forward. This is the closest forward, so this defenseman will be responsible for this forward. And then the centerman, if they are further away or closer. So actually, I would probably say this defenseman probably is the far side defender, and whoever the center, I don't know if it's Joanne, I don't know if it's Michael. They gotta identify, hey, there is a third forward. This is the far side post forward. We gotta cover them. And here's that short side post forward. So one of them, the centerman, not sure who, let's say question marks, has to cover one of them. It could be this player, it could be this player. And then the defenseman has to cover the other remaining player. And so no one, actually, we can even argue nobody's covering this player. So there's two forwards in front of the net, not covered by the defenseman and the center. And so they get a nice big chance right there. So got a little loosey-goosey on the defense. But this shift is still going. We are still going on. Everything's gone on the fly. We've gone a couple changes. Well, one change so far. Let's continue. Again, a little bit of a free zone entry, right? Ideally, we got a little bit more back pressure. There's two defenders against three forwards, so we can have, if we have a winger, a center, someone putting a little bit of pressure would allow the defenseman to come to gap up. because if we're not having back pressure, they have to retreat because there's a numbers disadvantage, 2 on 3. Whereas if we have 3 players, ideally 4, ideally 5, they can put a little bit more pressure, make life difficult. They can't cross over that blue line. So let's continue. A little bit of pressure here would be ideal. Oh, shot down low. Nobody's covering that back door. Uh-oh. And then finally a whistle. So a long shift here. Quite eventful. Quite eventful. But let's see what else is in store for us this game. Alright, so let's use this face-off. I can kind of clearly see who is the defenders and who is the center. And how do you break down defensive coverage? So I've said one defender. It could even be a center. So we'll call it this way: right D, left D, center. You can almost consider them as 3 defensemen. One of them has to pressure. If the puck is in the corner, one defender has to pressure them. So in this case, it's Darren Lowe pressuring this player right here, and then the center is probably going to cover that, be the one covering the player closest to the short side post, and then the right defenseman is going to be covering the player closest to the far side post. So in this case, the center, I think it's Mike, is going to be covering this player. That's going to be a short side post because they are the closest to the short side post, and the player closest to the far side post will be covered by the other defenseman. Now they don't need to be up their asses. It's just going to be proximity. And then in terms of the winger coverage, if we're running tight point, we're going to be having the wingers nice and close to them. And I think that's Athena will probably want to be covering this player. Now there's a little bit of a leeway depending on how teams want to do coverages. So we can run tight point. They can run up right nice and close with the D, make their lives difficult. What that typically means is it's going to open up a lot of space in the slot. Some teams like to have the weak side forward, the weak side winger. Weak side meaning if we cut the ice in half again, there's the puck is on this side, so we'll call it the right side of the ice. Whoever is on the far side, so let's actually rephrase this. On the perspective of Breakfast Club, this is the left side of the ice, the left side, and this is the right side. So whoever's the right winger, which is the weak side, they're the furthest away from the puck, they can opt to not be so close to the defender, and they can come down and cover around roughly this area of the ice. And so they're going to be kind of halfway to the D and then halfway to any other forwards in the slot. And so the benefit of that is you're going to be able to help out in the slot. This is all dependent on how a team wants to run their defense, but this is kind of just basic coverage we're going to talk about. So we'll just use this clip as just summarizing things. And here is perfect example of why we would want our wingers nice and close to the D, because when the puck leaks out, they're going to be up and close, and they can make life miserable for them. And we can see I think that's Athena just a little bit far, and so this player, number 71, has a chance to gather it and time to shoot, and that's just that kind of distance that they needed to cover. They weren't. Now we're good. See, we're now nice and close. That was nice and close, so everyone's where they need to be. I would say this defenseman will want to be on this player, this defender is on their player, and the center wants to cover this last remaining forward that's out in the highest slot, and it'll be nice. So we lost coverage right there. Big chance on net, and that would be the center's job. We have just missed our coverage. And why don't we use this clip as an example? So if we run tight point, perfect example, we're making life miserable for the defenseman. However, now there is some weakness in the high slot, where if a player beats the centerman, in this case the centerman, and they've got a step on them, you don't have a backup in the form of a winger to help out. So this player has beaten this player, so we can't have the winger to help support. And so that's kind of the pros and cons of running tight point versus a staggered or collapsing position. And thus what happens, it just allows for a possible shot chance like this. Alright, right here, face off. Now I know it's Michael that was the center. One thing, so face off win for Breakfast Club here. Immediately we should have seen our left wing hustling all the way to the boards, getting open nice and wide so we can bring this puck out wide if we need to. The thing we didn't see is that, and so if we cut this ice in half, everybody's on the right hand side, nobody is on the left hand side, and thus there's less options, right, for Darren to pass to. Fortunately, we do have a right wing on the far right side, so luckily the players have kind of opened up a little bit, but you can see there's a heavy concentration of Victoria's Secrets on the right side of the ice in the Breakfast Club perspective, versus making use of full width of the ice. So we got to move out wide, and really the goal of that is to spread out their defenders. So some thoughts there. All right, a little comment here. Good passing from behind the net up towards the point. Got a little fancy move there. Yeah, that looked I would be nervous for sure, but it worked through. I think my first inkling is there is a lot of people in front of the net, meaning let's say there's heavy traffic, this pass can't go through. There's no passing option, there really isn't. So I feel like one person at the minimum should be either half wall in the corner somewhere. Let's say we'll draw a little crescent moon. I feel like we should have somebody there at a bare minimum, just in case we wanted to, move the puck around a little bit. But this is a lot of players in front of the net. The only way you're ever going to get a goal opportunity is you get a shot for a tip chance, rebounds, or in this case, pass on the back door for a one-timer chance. Another comment, that is a really sharp angle. That's like at the bottom of the circle. Let's say you hit that one-timer, pretty tough angle. I feel like just squirting yourself up to around here, gonna get a way better angle to shoot at. Yeah, that's a really sharp backdoor angle. Yeah. Okay, so risky play. Sometimes you gotta risk it to get the biscuit. A pinch, that is a we'll call that a pinch. Why is that a pinch? It is because when the player is coming up and the defender is coming down, you are going to a pinch point, and so that's a pinch. And the reason why this doesn't particularly work is the Victoria's Secret player has a slight step advantage over Darren, and so he's able to deke it through. If, let's say, when that puck was released, Darren has already stepped down so that he gets to the puck before this player, would maybe be a successful pinch. If not, if you don't get that timing right, this can happen, and it easily becomes a 2-on-1 situation. Alright, so we're about to see the first goal for the Breakfast Club. Will's coming in, sees nobody, opts to do a tight turn, buy some more time, backdoor play, pass across, one-timer there. Defensive coverage has left two players wide open, two fixated on watching the skating of Will. You can see we got 2 players left on Lonely Island back here, on both sides of the posts. Yeah. Yeah, it's never a good look when you have 2 players left alone beside the goalie. So good, nice goal. Alright, so I thought this one was a series of slightly suspicious plays, and it results in a turnover. So let's kind of recap this. A good face-off win, and as usual, we should probably normally expect wingers are rushing the D if there's a face-off win. And I believe the safe play would be, rather than sending it all the way across like this, would be to get it to this closest D-man first, and then this D-man can opt to walk the blue line where this player can start to gravitate across and down low if they wish to, rather than sending it across, because the risk is that if the winger is quick enough, possible interception, possible breakaway. Now, that's mistake number 1. Mistake number 2 is, once they know there's pressure right here, I feel like, number 1, a safe choice is just bonk it down the boards. Usually a safe choice. Usually. Sometimes there's an interception, but the risk is, if there is a turnover here, this defender can turn around, backwards skate, you got the other defender ready to go, and then, you know, it's safe. It's okay. You turn it over, but it's this the risk is relatively low. Versus if we send it back across like this, and if this player is still kind of reading it, poke check, breakaway. Or another player, poke check, breakaway. So there's a little bit of risky business going on there. Now another option, and sometimes, you know, it's necessary, is just skate it out of the zone and go for a full reset. It does require everyone to come back out and touch up with the blue line, but sometimes that's the safer choice, and you still maintain possession. You know, it's all kind of situational, but you can see right here, there's a turnover, and then it results on big chance right there. That's a monster. So a bit of a scramble, and it really kind of just came from a force pass. We felt too much pressure, and we just kind of threw it back in the direction. All right, I think positionally right here, much better than what we saw in the first shift. Passes it back to the D, and then they send it back down low. We can see nice formation of a triangle. I think my only suggestion is, rather than staying in front of the crease like this, for one, is the moment, let's actually rewind a little bit. So right here is the moment we had to, this player had to chase down the puck. Someone should fill in that back spot on the half wall so that they have a passing option. And the moment Layla gets covered on that front side, we're getting stick lifted, she should either move away first and then time it to come back down, so you don't stay long to get stick lifted, and you're trying to draw them away from the net and then sneak back in. So you say, "See you later, sucker," and then come back in, peekaboo. Option 2 is, once that happens and you're seeing this player is battling for the puck, go behind the net, go for a little support position, where now at this moment in time, Mike has a option to pass up here, option to pass up here, and we're able to move the puck around. But much better, we see how I think if we bias people onto a certain side of the ice, we're just overloading that side. We have more short passing options that are, generally speaking, easier to make. And yeah, here's an example. You see how nobody was down here, so when the pass comes across, it ends up rolling all the way around, which is still fine, but ideally perhaps we could have done a tape-to-tape pass with your teammates and continue the possession. Let's continue. So this player stays on the half wall. That's perfectly fine, and we can just squirt on over. Perhaps that might make things a little bit easier. Let's continue watching. So yeah, I think another comment, if we're staying around the crease a lot and not moving, it becomes really easy to cover. So all you need to do is stick 3, 4, 5 Victoria's Secret players in front of the crease, and then no one's ever gonna get the puck. So let's continue. Pass down low, a little fancy tip, redirect right there. Oh, turnover. Almost. That was unlucky bounce. So yeah, some thoughts there. So this one was interesting. I'm surprised it's not a penalty. What is going on? So coming in, reaches in, grabs it, falls, throws the throws the stick away, throws his glove away. Was that a penalty? I'm not even sure. Do they call it? Penalty. Yep, penalty. Try to escape, run to the bench. Alright, so penalty kill. Let's see how the Breakfast Club sets up. And we'll make some comments along the way. So rim around. They still got possession. No. Okay, you know what? Let's do a little pause right here. What is the goal? What can we boil down the basics of a penalty kill here? The basics are usually you're down a player, so you can't put too much pressure on every player because you can't match 1-to-1 for every player. So someone's going to be left alone at some time. And the important thing is there is this area around the slot where you don't want the puck to get to. Sometimes it will get there. And if it does get there, you want to make life miserable for any player that is there. And easy ways to do that is you could form a box and you cover that area and make life as a result miserable, and you can put a little bit of pressure towards what player is there. You could form a little diamond. The formation doesn't really matter. The important thing is you're trying to make life miserable and prevent pucks to get into the zone. And so with that in mind, let's kind of recap as the puck goes along. Are we making life miserable for them? And are we preventing pucks from getting in that zone? I would say from here, yes. A little bit before, I could argue maybe not so much. We got a little bit too excited. We're trying to put pressure on number 71. You can see how Athena got beat, and then all of a sudden all these players got drawn to number 71, and we forget, hey, there's someone on the back door. Hey, there's someone in the slot. Why are we not covering them? And it results on a pass, almost a one-timer chance. They missed it. So let's continue. Right here, probably should send it down low. Ice the puck. Don't turn it over in your zone. That's pretty dangerous. Throw it down the ice. Good. Go for a line change. All right. Don't want to put too much pressure. A little bit is good. Okay. So now we remember, are we making life miserable for them in the slot? Oh, get it out of the zone. Go for a reset. They're coming down. Alright, a little bit of pressure is okay. Yeah, they missed the pass. It's an offside, so we've bought a little bit of time right here. Not sure how much time is left on this penalty kill, but looks like it's going to be ending soon. 15 seconds left. Let's see what they got. Kill some time, send it down low. make him get it. 7 seconds. So still time to play conservative. We don't have your player back on the ice yet. There we go, 5 on 5. Oh. Ooh. There you go, killed the play. So a penalty kill there. Some thoughts, I think overall not bad. Alright, second period. I wanted to highlight something that is good. So sometimes we see players just get up to the blue line and then they turn around standing still facing the puck carrier and then they wait for the pass. The problem with that, it is very, very easy for the defender to just stand beside them, and then when the puck comes, they just come and poke it off. Number two, you don't have the speed when you go too far up, and so like you have to catch the puck, turn around, then go in. So to highlight that is Michael comes down low and he's not zooming, just timing it well so that he still has a forward momentum and eventually he gets the puck. And because he has that forward momentum, very easy to build up speed, and then he can slice through the neutral zone, which he eventually does. So pretty simple, right? This player is hustling, but eventually he still can't beat them. Little drop pass to Joanne. I feel like she could probably take a better angle. A little bit of space to cut to the middle, a little bit of space to work a shot. This seemed like a pretty sharp angle, pretty far distance to shoot from. Unless you got a really strong shot, I feel like you probably could have brought it in for a slightly more dangerous chance. But I think the highlight was building up speed through the neutral zone and not jumping too far ahead of the gun. Alright, so I've noticed the Breakfast Club tends to run a very box +1 type structure, meaning how does that work? You usually have 2 forwards on the opposite side of the net and then 2 on the far side of the D where you're forming a nice box, and then 1 in the middle. That's where that +1 comes, and you're basically forming a lot of triangles and moving the puck around. The only thing about a box +1 situation usually is we'll find a lot of players on deep, almost close to the goal line, where they don't become really big offensive threats in terms of shots, and they do require them to move up the ice before shooting, but certainly can generate a lot of chances, a lot of net front grindy kind of greasy tip goals, and a lot of good puck movement. Very curious. I don't see this as much on the Greenhorns, obviously, but it's a very interesting strategy. So I thought this was pretty funny. A little stick lift there, and everyone's like, I give up. Nobody's coming in with Will. Little between the legs shot, makes big save by the goalie. What was that? I'm confused. So this defense, excellent interception by Darren, and I think he just forced that pass a little bit too much. Lots and lots of space on his right side. So we can see right here 2 Victoria's Secrets. And so what does that mean? It means there is a vast ocean of space to work through. And he also has a winger on the right hand side. And I think the mistake is trying to force it through where the players are versus going to where either skating to where the players are not or passing. So yeah, I think take advantage of the space that's given, and what the space was at the time is that there are players on the left side. Let's take advantage of the space on the right side. So another defensive coverage lapse, I would argue. So it certainly always gets tricky when players are not close to the net, and yeah, oftentimes that's where players get lost. So number one, actually, let's kind of recap here. I think this is not a center's fault. I first thought it was. So this is the winger. This is the winger missed the piss. So breaking it down, defender onto this player, and then the center and the other defenseman is going to cover up the loose scrap. So number 8 probably going to be the center. Number 13 probably covered by the right D, Darren, and then other Darren left covering this player behind the net. And we see their defenseman snuck down. Boop. And I think that is Layla. So kind of lost track of them. Uh-oh. One-timer. Big chance right there. And then out of the zone. I want to use this clip as a highlight. Exactly the point where beginning of the second period, I said sometimes we have players that are all the way up by the blue line, and then they're almost stationary facing the puck carrier, and a pass will come. Yes, momentarily they are open, but I said there's a risk to that, and the risk is it's very, very easy to defend because number one, you're really close to the offensive zone, and all the defenseman needs to do is they're going to be standing there anyways near the blue line, and because they're really close to you, they can see the pass coming. It's a pretty long distance pass, and all they need to do is come poke check, make your life miserable. And part two is if you had the ability to receive the pass, you won't have any speed. You still have to turn around and enter the zone. And that's kind of like the demonstration right there by this defender. He says, oh, easy pickings, poke check, and now this play is dead. Fortunately for Breakfast Club, we're able to, I think they recover. But it's a kind of a demonstration where if you're too far up, if you're all the way at the opposing blue line, and it's not a quick rush where you can see how, let's kind of rewind. It was a bit of a reset. We're skating back down. There's some time to settle it down, right? We're not catching the defense off guard with speed. We're just kind of slowly working way up there. Then it becomes easy to pick off. I think here's another demonstration. A little drop pass for Joanne. I feel like she's got some room to skate it in, get a little closer. Looks like she's got a pretty decent shot, but the distance, it's pretty far. The goalie it's not screened, right? You can see it all the way. I think it's Gabe. This goalie's gonna make saves 10 out of 10 from that distance, unless you're Ovechkin. But yeah, I feel like she's got some space, and I think in general for everyone, in my opinion, we try to at least bring it to this area, which I think generally is called the house. So if she's able to bring it just about here, generally it's going to be a higher quality chance, and maybe we can score at a higher rate of success. Alright, so this face-off right here, kind of interesting. I see we're moving Joanne. She's a right-handed shot from the right side to the left side. Perfectly fine. I think in general, really nice areas to get one-timers as a right-handed shot would be somewhere around here. Well, okay, you know what? Let's draw like a whole zonal area. This entire area, really nice areas to shoot from for a one-timer chance as a right-handed shot coming from right side. Let's assume the puck gets to, well, right side to left side. This whole area is wonderful. So let's kind of observe. I think eventually she cruises really far down and behind a defender. I don't know. I feel like that's goes to a suboptimal position. Eventually gets in net front. That's a good spot. And then big one-timer chance right here. Big save. So where Athena shot from is a good spot, where we said just marking down that area. She's on that kind of limit on the corner. pretty decent spot, nice and high, but still close enough to get a good power through. Turnover, pizza pass. Oh, this was a mistake by the Victoria's Secret player. He had all the space to skate out on this side. Vast ocean. We see lots of Breakfast Club players. Why are they feeding through the middle? And so they pay the price of that mistake. Boom, turnover, backdoor, forehand, backhand, in between the legs. This goalie is upset by the mistake that their team made on that nasty pizza. And if we don't know what a pizza is, if you draw a little cone from the corners of the net and go all the way to the blue line, we see this nice beautiful pizza slice, and he passes through this. Is usually a little bit risky because it could be a turnover, it could be an interception, and if that happens, we got a little pepperoni slice right here, a little pizza. Boom. Uh-oh, this guy delivered a hot and ready pizza, fresh delivery, results in a goal. I wanted to highlight this clip. Excellent positioning by Darren on the D, and then able to send it up on the quick up to the forward. And what's the highlight? What is the excellent positioning? So what I like to say is typically the defensemen want to be on the far sides of either side of the ice. So left D near the boards, right D near the other boards. And the second part to that positioning is the defenseman without the puck, generally, to be safe, behind. If you draw a line across the ice, they're slightly behind them. The reason is so that if there's any pressure, they can pass it backwards. So you can zigzag backwards. If there's a lot of pressure, a lot of pressure, you can pass it across the ice, make them sweat, make them work, skate a marathon if they need to zigzag back and forth until ice opens up. In this case, ice opened up real quickly. We lost number 8 as the forechecker, and we were able to pass it up to the winger. And another part to that is full ice, right? We want to go all the way across, make them really work hard to get to you. And so excellent positioning, and we're able to get in the zone pretty quickly. I think here is an example of the D being quite conservative. So this player is coming in, and if we could put a little bit of a challenge closer to the blue line, you could force them to dump it, force them to make a move. Just don't make it so easy for them to skate in. Now, perhaps there is a skill difference. If Darren is a higher level player and they just don't want to be so stifling that the other team can't play, okay, understandable if we're being a little bit conservative there. But here's a demonstration where if we're being too conservative, it allows a team to just walk in. And so therefore what happens is that they're able to skate in, and then shot on net, right? Without, there's no defense near them, and so shot on net. That's just a demonstration of being too conservative. If we're able to close up that gap a little bit, make their life more miserable, and then it'll prevent shots like this. I thought this was funny. Pretty clear, obvious mistake, and it's made even better with Will's reaction. Let's turn up the volume and see if you can hear it. It might be a bit loud. Right here, we'll turn it up just for you. In case you didn't hear it, he says, "Oh fuck." Obviously, we kind of highlighted this a little bit earlier in the game. If we're feeling a little bit of pressure, right, we're skating up, we know we're skating up like this, players are going to be coming up like this. And so if we send a pass across, there is a risk hitting a body, hitting a stick, something, as forwards are coming, and then it creates an odd man rush. Obviously the safest choice, send it down low along the boards, safe, You just have to make sure your forwards have to dig it out. They have to put in the hard work for it. But the problem is with this, sending it across, like just like that, accidentally hits a stick, whoever this player is. Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O. Breakaway for this player. And the oh fuck icing on the cake. So let's see, Kevin Liu. Big, oh, he didn't even hit the net. His presence was so superior, this guy got scared out of his skates, completely missed the net, couldn't hit the target. He said Kevin Liu is just so scary, I didn't know what to do, froze him up, and thus we are safe. We got a couple sequences right here that looked pretty dangerous. Missed one-timer chance, looked kind of cool. Past the slot, one-timer chance. It looked like a stick lift. Let me just take a look. Rewind here. Passing out front. Just slightly missed it, or a slight stick lift. Couldn't quite tell. Shot pass for a tip chance. Looked pretty dangerous. So we have Athena back here. Settles it down. Totally fine. I think right here, a lot of space to operate. Probably could have tight turned right here. And Darren going down on the pinch. Now I think that might be a little bit aggressive because the D partner is not there. Now I wanted to highlight, why is there nobody covering for the missing lefty? So if we have a lefty all the way down here, certainly we should expect one forward covering up here, one of them. So a little bit of a tough position. So 1D is coming down low. Perhaps a drop pass is possible if there's communication. We say Athena, hey, back pass, back pass. However, the other problem is she's skating up, sees nobody's up here. That's a bit of a problem. That's certainly a bit of a problem. And then part two of that equation is, once we see them going up, we need a quick reaction to somebody needs to go on these support positions. Whether it's in the corner, whether it's in the half wall, something needs to happen rather than camping the slot. Just so we can move the puck around. Now, unfortunately, we go from all the way from behind the net and up, and because we have both of our D down deep, the only choice is we gotta send it back down low. Otherwise, you're gonna get surrounded by forwards because they know you're the only person up there, and problems gonna rise. And unfortunately, poke checked and out of the zone. So certainly a bit aggressive. Let's see if we recover. Coming back up. I think a reset is. Oh, wait, what happened there? Tried to reset, sending it back to Will, but number 8 read it like a children's book. Interception, but fortunately it got killed. I think if we ever find yourself in a position like this, a lot of pressure, sometimes it makes sense, skate all the way behind the net, take it back there. You know, it's going to be safe. Make them work for it, and then you can dish it back up. You can send it to your D, whatever, get a nice reset, take a breather, and then go back on the attack again. So I usually say that behind the net is a nice little safe spot to reset everything if you really need to. You feel a lot of pressure, because the net serves as a little screen. The player needs to skate around it to get to you. And then if you do lose a puck behind the net, it's generally a little bit safer. You got a little bit more time to work with. So some thoughts there. I think some key aspects: a little bit aggressive, nobody's covering for the D, and then with one D already deep in, the other D was getting a little too aggressive, both pinching in. So yeah. Alright, so I think the funniest part is the team knows Will's not going to shoot, and so they're going to put extra attention on, in this case right now it's only Layla in the zone, on defending her. And you can see this defender is absolutely draped all over her, ready to stick lift. Pass come, bomb, stick lift. Absolutely miserable experience out there, and they know it. Yeah, when they know Will's not going to shoot, it's hard for him to become a magnet to draw attention because they know the pass is coming. So I think that's pretty funny. Now for Layla, or for anyone else, if you ever find yourself in a situation where someone's just absolutely camped on top of you, what I think is you want to skate far away and then come back in. So it's going to be kind of, rather than staying here the entire time, you want to skate out and then find another path. So let's skate out and then come back in, time it perfectly. It's going to be a timing you're going to have to read off of whoever has the puck, in this case is Will. And then right when it gets in a prime position, you're going to be hunting for these lanes the whole time. So whether that means right here, what's the open lane? The open lane is roughly around here. So if you skate out and start skating over here, maybe you get a pass over there. And then you lose the defender that's been stick lifting you, making your life miserable. And then you might get some chances. So we want to work with not staying in the slot for too long. Come out. So skate out, skate back in. Oh, they're on you, skate out, skate back in. Oh, they're on you again, skate out, skate back in. And that's, I find, generally a pretty easy way to lose a defender. We got a pretty fancy play coming up. Interception by Will. Skating in, take it wide. So we get Joanne driving the net. I think Vu's already scored. Will's not going to shoot, so it's only one option. Fancy, fancy, fancy. So passes out, passes back, tips across, boom. Oh, it wasn't even a goal. It looked good. Oh man, I hyped it up for no reason. Alright, we gotta call out Mike. Defensively lazy. What is this? So they're hustling in the zone. This is a bit better in terms of aggressiveness, not so conservative with their a little bit better gap. And so it's not so easy for them to skate in. They're still skating into the zone, but now they have to stop up a little bit. Lefty Will is on touching on their player. Third forward, that means center needs to cover. And so lazy, we'll see. Look at this, look at this. Oh, lazy gets a shot on net. But Officer Kevin Liu is on the case, stops the shot. I wanted to highlight some defensive lapsing right here. I think namely culprit is actually going to be number 55 winger on Breakfast Club. So the problem here is we've said wingers need to cover the D, and this defenseman is now bringing the puck into the zone, and thus to keep it simple, I would say 55 should follow them into the zone. We could talk about switching off. It gets a little complicated. To keep it simple, you just stick with them the whole way. So they go all the way in, and then for some reason all of a sudden 55 peels off, possibly thinking it's a breakout. But the problem when they peel off like that, they've really jumped the gun, is the defenseman that they should have been covering is now in the slot in a prime shooting position. Thankfully they missed the net, but we can see how if our wingers are not staying close to them, then opportunities like that will present itself, because now we don't have a one-to-one defender to attacker. Alright, right here, turnover and a little pass up. We've kind of said before, if we're all the way up the blue line, usually going to be a little bit easier for them to defend, but in this case Joanne is roughly around middle ice, not as bad, and able to pivot and gain speed. Now I've been talking about this almost the entire game, where if she was able to, she was shooting all the way out here, right? Pretty far distance, pretty sharp corner like angle. and I said, what if she brought it in towards the slot a bit more? She's got a pretty good shot, and if, to add on top of that, if the goalie is screened, it makes his life a little bit more difficult. Boom. The first shot she takes that's in the slot goes in. Wow, look at that. Recipe for success, right? So for every player, we want to bring the puck towards the middle, try to shoot it inside the house, right? And so, excellent spot to shoot, and it results in a goal. I gotta highlight this one. This was pretty funny. Nice little tight turn. Who is that a pass to? Now, I do want to make a comment. We have two players in the slot, and because they're so close to proximity to each other, I generally call them as one player, right? They're serving as one passing option, it's one player. And I think in general, we want to have someone supporting a support position. So if they're on the half wall, I like the corner. If they're in the corner, I like the half wall. We should be expecting a D-man here, and then another D-man somewhere around here, and then we could fill it out, someone in the slot. Ultimately, it doesn't matter because of that, but we can kind of see he doesn't have a lot of passing options. There's really only one. And it's a pretty risky cross-ice pass. So we're trying to, I think, always think about, can I give my teammate more options to pass to? All right, we got a bit of a defensive lapse here. Played the body there, fine, perfectly fine. And then, oh gosh, forgets the backdoor. Big one-timer save right there. What is the mistake? Who's supposed to be covering who? So I would say probably number 8 should be covered by this player. We established contact. Number 9 should probably be number 28. And then let's see, maybe they switched off right here. So someone should be taking care of number 13. I see. Okay, so I think Will was attached to this player, but then peeled off at the last moment. And then that creates an opening right there. Big save. So slight lack of coverage for momentarily. Alright, so it looks like the Breakfast Club is up 3-0. They want to make life a little bit more exciting rather than being more conservative and protecting the lead. So we see one of the defensemen nice and deep in the zone by the half wall, and covered by one of the wingers. Perfectly fine, but the problem is right here, probably should have signified, hey, I need to start the retreat, but they opt to do the pinch instead. And we've kind of talked about a pinch generally is going to be more successful if you can get there at the same time or before the attacking player. In this case, the attacking player has firm control of the puck, and so all they need to do is a little move and they're out of the zone. And now we have a 3-on-1, 4-on-1 situation developing, not looking so good. Poor Darren is out on Lonely Island. A big save by Kevin. More big saves. Now, I think he did a slight misplay, and let me explain why that is. He's the only defender, and he decides to challenge number 71. And when you're in a position like this, you're in a pretty tough spot regardless. And the best way to do this is plant yourself in between all of the attackers, and you're gonna need to let them walk in on you. And eventually you will put a little bit of pressure, but your main focus is covering the passing lane. Let the goalie take the shot. Now, you need to position yourself so that they can't just walk in and deke out the goalie. So you're gonna getting in between, blocking the passing lane, but preventing them from skating so close that they can deke, and you're just allowing them to take the shot most of the way and just kind of trust the goalie will make the save. Now, if you get too aggressive, you're gonna be left in a pretty tough position where now they have the pass and they can come in and deke. So it makes life a little bit more difficult for the goalie. Obviously, you kind of were put in a tough spot with that 4-on-1 situation, but yeah, that's how you would want to play an odd man rush with a single defender. Uh-oh, bad defensive coverage one more time. We got way too many people behind the net and nobody covering net front. Is it a winger's job? Is it the center's job? I'm not sure right now, because there's 3 victories, 4 victories. So is it a winger? Big save by the goalie though. Is it Vu? Okay, hold on, I gotta rewind this. Who shot it? Number 14. Alright, what does number 14 play? Let's rewind. We gotta need some Sherlock Holmes detective skills right here. He looks like a forward. 71. Okay, so it's number 7. Okay, so we've ruled out it's not the winger's job. Winger's covering 71. So it's not Vu's problem. So 14. Who should that have been? Probably Darren, actually. I think it would be Darren. And let me explain why. So at this moment, puck goes to that player and Michael attaches to them. So that's the defensive coverage. And then number 8 is covered by other Darren. And so 14 is not covered. And we have too many people on this player and this one's forgotten about. Yeah, I think it ultimately was Darren should have been sticking with them right around this time period. Rather than helping out Michael, they should have covered number 14, or at least stay close. So you could put yourself in a position where it's like right here. So you could help out if this player beats Michael. And if a pass comes out, you're pretty close to them. So that results in that, but big pad save. We have unlocked the mystery. Big pad save, covered up. Okay, so actually here's a demonstration of a better gap control. We've kind of said before the D was being a little too conservative. You know what? Athena's too conservative. That is a example of too conservative. And here is an example of a little bit better. So poke, check, reach right at the blue line. Make life difficult. Make them make a deke. If you can poke check it, make them make a deke, screw up, and cause this player to go offside, boom, all of a sudden offside, can do a whistle right at the face-off dot. Perfect. Rush completely dead. In this case, they are able to skate in, but had a little bit more work. But you know, actually this was a pretty clear, good example. And then ideally we want to see a little bit more back-checking pressure from our forwards. Obviously make our defensemen's life a little bit easier. And yes. So right here, I tend to say for the Greenhorns is if you're ever finding yourself in a situation, don't really have any good passing options, curl back around and get behind the net. Ultimately, if you do see someone coming towards you, you should be able to bounce along the boards to your D partner to get kind of rid of it. But getting behind the net is generally going to be the safe spot to lose the puck versus losing the puck in the slot. Gets a little sketchy, right? So I like to say get it behind the net. I call it the little safety zone because like I've said, the net kind of serves as a pick, and then if you lose the puck there, it's generally you have some time to recover defensively versus kind of losing it in front of the goalie. I thought this was a pretty funny play. This is definitely a Chell play. Hard rim, weak side winger sneaking out of the zone. Unfortunately, their D has read it like an absolute children's book. But yeah, that's a fun play for sure. So some more relaxed defensive coverage again. Yeah, backdoor it. So what's going on? Who's a defenseman? So 71 comes in. Number 8 probably covered by the should be covered by the center. And backdoor should be right defenseman. Who's right defenseman? Right, let's rewind this again. Oh, Athena? I think so. Probably. Yeah, so too much attention brought to this player. And then nobody's left on number 8. And then number 88 is skiding in. So center and right D kind of lost track. Boom, big one-timer save. Alright, Breakfast Club caught a little snoozing here for sure. For sure, number 99 should be Layla's responsibility. Definitely shouldn't have rimmed it around, I think, in my opinion. But, yeah. Yep, caught snoozing a little bit. Boom! It looked like it was just trickling down the side of the net. Saved, rebound, save, rebound. Oh my goodness, that looked quite sketchy. And yeah, looks like everyone's caught snoozing a little bit. Poor Kevin's gotta work for his shutout back there. Yeah, more examples of snoozing. What's going on here? No effort. 4 on 2. Where's the back checking pressure? Where's the back checking pressure? And then on top of that, we got conservative D. They're just skating in. No contest. Pass shot. Kevin really needing to put in the work for his shutout. Alright, so we got 30 seconds left in the game. Let's see what we've got in store. Little chip pass. Skating down hard. Forechecking pressure. Maybe a little bit deep. And then we just give up. What's going on? Where's the back checking pressure here? They just walk in, shot on net. Dump it. And game over. 3-0 game. Looks like Kevin had to work for that shutout. Pretty nice, couple nice goals. And this completes review of Breakfast Club versus Victoria's Secrets.